Greetings and salutations. Hey, I know it's been a while, and I've been busy. I apologize. Let's look back at, 2 episodes of the show Lexx. In this case, Lafftrak and Stan's trial. Let's look at Lafftrak first. So, the crew of the Lexx encounter an automated TV production facility that makes game shows about people competing in, game shows. Each is given a part in a program, and their success is linked directly to the ratings the show can produce. Everyone has fun until they discover the consequences of having your show canceled. It's been a while since I watched this show, and yeah, sometimes this show, like, when you look back at it, you can go, like, say, this is weird.
There's been a misunderstanding.
Ah, scumbag. And tonight, right here on Specialty Show, you get to see one more scumbag bite the dust.
Wait just a second here.
Like one of the programs that, Zev gets involved in is basically, like, say, it's almost like something that you would see in very much...
Then move on to basic screaming. End up in advanced pleasing.
I'm not allowed to even say that. It feels like something I would have, like, you would see back in the 90s, like, in your parents' bedroom and all that. But then, like, say, like, all the characters, like, say, Z290, I think he ends up just being on a game show where he's just, or, like, different programs, and he's guys constantly saying, like, is Zev here? Is Zev here? And all that. Stanley, like, he's getting, like, a lot of the things, like, he's constantly say, you're not funny, Stanley Tweedle. You must now go to different programs. You must go down to different programs. And eventually, eventually they end up into one program, which is special programs. And my god. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What ends up happening, though, is that Kai, he eventually shows up, and, like, at first, like, he would go into each room and say, what's going on here and going on here. Basically, since, he's the character who's very quiet, very brooding, and go, say, this is most unusual, and all that. He's basically, like, the character that suddenly shows up in a, soap, when he's showing up in soap operas or something, it's just, say.
How could you?
What?
After all we've been through, with the lies and the drinking, the cheap scenes with your horse!
I am not sentimental.
These tones don't mess well. They don't mesh well at all. And yeah, I thought this one was kind of funny. I enjoyed this one. This one was a lot more sillier than the usual ones where it's just say what WTF and all that. I mean, it has one moment which is thinking like that. Like, after say special programs, each character gets their head plopped off and all that. It's just say what am I watching here? What am I watching here? And all that. It's just say, oh, come now. And then what ends up happening is Stanley is able to save the day by going into each of the programs to try to save the members of the crew and such.
Stan.
Who's a scumbag now, tough guy?
I thought this one wasn't too bad. I kind of enjoyed it. It was relatively fun. What happened in Stan's trial? Stanley is tempted by a pleasure ship. However, when he arrives, he is arrested in a sting operation for crimes involving the death of billions of people. As the trial progresses, Kyle becomes concerned about the actions of the prosecutor and agrees to defend Stanley in a last-ditch attempt to save him from the death sentence. Like this one, like, basically it's like, say, looking back at Stanley's past and all that. One of the things the highlight of this episode is, like, yes, there's a bit of drama, like, and like Stanley, like, having to remember, like, say, a worst moment and such. I will say the actress who plays the prosecutor, she seems to be having such a fun job playing this character. Like, there's a moment when, like, she says, like, say, okay, Stanley, you're guilty, and such. What ends up happening is, she ends up saying, say, I'm going to give you the brain worms.
Come on, Raj Trader. Down the hatch!
To move is to die. You understand?
His sentence will be carried out.
Not anymore. You are not interested in justice, Johanna. Only cruelty.
You make the two sound incompatible.
She ends up going, like, she ends up saying, like, say, and they shall eat your entire side, Stanley. And so, yeah, this one's goofy. At times, like, say, with the acting and such. And at first, like, say, like, when Kai goes up and tries, like, say, should I kill Stanley? And in that moment, I was going to say, yes. Like, like, since Stanley, like, they were going to give Stanley some worms that would slowly eat them inside, I'll, like, say, give her that death sequence. But then, like, I'm going to say, like, what they end up doing is, like, the usual when it comes to the show. At the end of every episode, it's like, say, okay, Lexx destroy this space station, this planet, and such, and all that. And yeah, like, I think in, like, say, Lexx, the show has, when it comes down to it, it can be enjoyable. It can have some crazy moments where it's just like, say, what? And all that. But overall, these were two fairly, fun episodes. I'll see you next time.